So for my reflection, I'm going to be talking about different kinds of freedom, on positive and negative freedoms. And the image that is there is a quote by Epictetus, ancient philosopher, and he says, "Is freedom anything else than the right to live as we wish and nothing else? Is freedom anything else than the right to live as we wish and nothing else?" It's a question. In a world that often feels overwhelming, it's easy to feel pulled in every direction, with messages shouting at us from every corner to be more and to do more and to have more, to love more, produce and work harder so that at some point you can be free. But what if freedom isn't found in some distant future after doing all of the things? What if it's found in doing what matters most now, even if it's only a little? What if freedom is all about allowing your love and your gifts and your talents, your healing presence to be focused like sunlight through a lens and not scattered in every direction, but magnified and purposeful and alive? This morning, I want to talk about that freedom. The freedom, well, what is at the heart of what it means to be free, and not just the freedom from oppression and constraints or freedom from fears, but also freedom for compassion and for love and for joy, for your sacred calling, for the work that only you can do. Reverend Victoria Safford once wrote, quote, "We're not here to just be free from something, but to be free for something. Freedom as moral agency, freedom as calling, freedom as that thing that sets our hearts in motion," end quote. So in these two ways of understanding freedom, in what philosophers call negative and positive freedom, negative freedom is the freedom from the external constraint. It's the absence of interference, nobody telling you what to do, no unjust laws keeping from voting, no politicians, no prison systems, and then in some lighter cases, maybe no parents, no partners, keeping you from doing what you want to do, going where you want to go. And sometimes the need from that kind of freedom is real and necessary, but that's not enough for a definition of freedom. Positive freedom asks a deeper question in what are you free for? Are you free to live a life of meaning? Are you free to express your values, your loves, your gifts, your service in something greater than yourself? Positive freedom isn't just about removing barriers, it's about building bridges to purpose, to community, to belonging. It's about cultivating a sense of a freedom to choose your life with intention. Many of us in this room who don't deal daily with forces of oppression trying to take your freedom can sometimes feel like you can have all the choices in the world, and with all of those choices feel stuck, feel overwhelmed and lost and indecision. I'll share that when I got out of the military in 2016, it was at a time just as Trump was entering the office for the first time. And at that time, I was just 4 years shy of full active duty retirement, but it felt imperative for me to be free of that restrictive system so that my being and my ministry could expand beyond the military's confines. It was my full intention to return as a chaplain and bring my flavor of freedom back into that world. I had this vision to be kind of like Harriet Tubman and return to that oppressive space and reach my queer marginalized sibling in arms with the wisdom medicine I found in this faith. But then when Trump was reelected and enacted Executive Order 14183, prohibiting transgender, non-binary, and gender non-conforming individuals from serving in the military, he stole my freedom to fulfill my calling. For 10 years, I'd been faithfully preparing for that particular role. And it hurt deeply to have that dream taken from me. And then I came across one of my favorite quotes by Reverend Dr. Howard Thurman. And he says, quote, "Don't ask yourself what the world needs, but ask yourself what makes you come alive and go and do that. Because the world needs people who have come alive." When I read that quote, I realized that my pursuit of chaplaincy, me being on that path as a Black, queer, transgender, witchy, UU liberation theologian, had made me come alive. I left the military blessed with options, but burdened with guilt and moral injury from my direct contributions to war. My freedom from the military began a healing journey, and the current political realities gave me what Thurman called a strange freedom, in that he gave an unexpected gift that reoriented me to what my freedom is actually for. I thought that I needed to go back into this system, but this situation, this presidency, forced me to reorient my thinking, to help me to see what is my freedom for. The youth in the story that we shared earlier with the immigrant story, it's a sad thing to have to reorient your sense of freedom and what you know your freedom is for. Your freedom should be to do whatever, in the story with the child, to be able to live with her dad, that should be what her freedom is for. But in that crucial moment, something, that magic, gave her the gift of reorienting. Perhaps her magic, perhaps it's for revisioning, for her to be able to live her life as freely as possible then. It's this reframing of freedom. It shouldn't have to be that way, but it can be a gift if you are with people who can help you to see that kind of perspective so that you can go on and live a life of liberation. But I want to try to get through all of my things. I say something about this. The poet Jill McDonough, in the poem that we listened to, I feel that she really invited us into a stunning image in her poem, what Cindy comes to hear me read. When Cindy, not her real name, was once incarcerated and in prison, she was terrified of getting things wrong, unable to touch, hug, and choose for herself. But then when she got out and got a car and an apartment, she was able to laugh out loud, not just because she was free from prison, but because she was finally free for something, free to build a life, free to feel the absurdity of beauty in being in traffic. We are free in the absurdity of being in a political climate that a lot of us don't agree with. It's a strange freedom. It's a strange freedom. And the poet says, everybody at the work of being free. That line kept echoing in me because freedom isn't just something we're given. It is something that we work at no matter where our circumstances put us. It's a process and it's a responsibility to always work of having a sense of freedom in yourself and sharing it with those who don't have access. So like when we read Something Happened to My Dad, that centered on a child whose father had been taken away from immigration officials, and the ripple effect it had on the child's family, school life, and sense of belonging. That story reminded us that for many people in this country, freedom is not just personal choice. It is about systemic injustice. It's about the structures and policies that determine whose family gets to stay together and whose children get to feel safe, who gets to dream without fear. And that child didn't lose their freedom because of a bad decision that they made. They lost it because of laws that failed to see the full humanity of immigrants. The father wasn't free because he lacked legal status, but our systems are built in a way that deny positive freedom, the freedom for families to have safety and love. Our work as people of faith is to listen to these stories, be with people who are impacted by these stories, participate in meetings like that of the Tallahassee Immigration Rights Alliance that can share how we can directly help and be of assistance. As Unitarian Universalists, we hold a deep belief in the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and that belief calls us to work for negative freedom, freedom from unjust incarceration, violence, and oppression. But it also calls us to build positive freedom. And that means shaping communities where people are free to become who they truly are, like this one. Where trans kids are free for gender expression, where Black, Indigenous, and immigrant families of colors are free for generational thriving, where those in recovery are free for healing, where you and I are free for loving boldly, for spiritual exploration, showing up as our holy selves. And this is not easy work. It is holy work. Just showing up here in this community is doing the work. And I'm preparing to close, knowing that it's a paradox, that the more choices we have, that is what adds to us feeling scattered and lost. Like, do I give my energy to the justice work outside of this community? Do I give them here? But freedom isn't saying yes to everything. It's saying the deeper yes to something that truly matters to you. Where you want to put your waters, the fire that you want to tend, and it doesn't have to be with everything. You can't do everything. You can't fix everything, but you can choose where to place your focus. To say yes to what calls you, to bring your light not everywhere, but somewhere. Knowing that, as Howard Thurman reminds us, that what the world needs is people who have come alive. Do the things that give you life. May you go out and explore what being free and what freedom means for you. And not just freedom from what harms us, but freedom for what heals us. Freedom to laugh in traffic and freedom to drive with windows down with a song in your throat. But also freedom to cry with grief when a child is separated from their family. Freedom to rise up and say, not in the name of religion, because not all religions are that way, because this religion is one of love and you can come and meet me there. This honors that freedom to choose, freedom to build, to have faith in one's fire within. May we go and be about the work of being free together. Amen, Ashe, and may it be so.